How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Bubbles BuzzerBeater, your unofficial official BuzzerBeater YouTube channel. I hope Season 58 is treating everyone really well. I know playoffs are right around the corner. And just a reminder that a week from today is that deadline for playoff eligibility on players. So if you're looking at anyone on the transfer list for like a late playoff push or to win your relegation series to stay in your league, October 16th, that morning, is when the deadline is. So primarily in the next couple of days, you want to start scouring the transfer list and hopefully getting someone on your roster before the 16th. So today I just wanted to go over something I've never done before, but I wanted to focus on a specific team that is known pretty well by USA managers at least, but there's a team that holds the most world records in BuzzerBeater, and some managers play to do really well and try to win their top league in their country. Some try to win B3. Others just play to kind of push the boundaries of the game and see what they can make happen. So I wanted to talk about Milwaukee Lethargy and their manager, Shikago. So, this manager, if you guys aren't aware of who this is, if you click on their roster page, one of my favorite things ever, they got 67 players still on their roster, but if you just sort it by salary, essentially all that this team has done is draft players and train them and make them all look the exact same. So it's always funny going in. You'll see some older players who are like 38 before that was a feature, but all of their primary players for their rotation look the exact same. Pretty interesting there, but essentially Shikago and Milwaukee Lethargy, they are just notorious and famous, however way you want to look at it, for, like I said, pushing the boundaries of BuzzerBeater and seeing what can be accomplished with really, really good players, really, really bad players, and different aspects of the game. So on the BuzzerBeater forums, if you go to BuzzerBeater World Records, Maflafel, another USA manager, but he keeps a track of kind of all of the BuzzerBeater World Records that we are aware of. And you can see that it was just updated in May of this year, so he does go in and update it with new ones if they ever change. And you'll see right here, most records broken, it's 13, and it's held by Milwaukee Lethargy. So I just wanted to do a video kind of going through the different world records that Shikago holds, and just kind of laugh along with the process and see what these world records look like. So the first one that I see, you can see that all of the ones that are bolded are the ones for Milwaukee Lethargy. So free throws missed in a game, 48. We can go ahead and click on that. And Milwaukee also does this thing where he just runs out the worst players possible to see if he can get the lowest ratings possible. So you can see offensive low, atrocious low, where it's not even bolded. This is one of the lowest ratings you can achieve in BuzzerBeater. And it's essentially just his crew of really, really bad players. But the world record right here for most missed free throws, you can see they shot 0 of 72. And this is before the free throw change, where if a player had an atrocious free throw rating, it was possible for them to just miss every single free throw, whereas nowadays it's mixed in with jump shot, jump range, and some other things, but 0 of 72 as a team from the free throw line. So that's very interesting, and then the record itself is the 0 of 48 from the free throw line right there. So M. Niski, 0 of 48 from the free throw line, and there'll be a couple other world records from the same exact game too. So going back to the list, lowest rating, you'll see that it's the same exact game right here that we were just on, but a negative 2.5 rating for Amninsky, our man of the hour. Negative 0.25 rating. I can't even remember the last time I've seen a negative rating in a matchup of mine. but a negative 2.5 rating is very impressively bad. And then another game where there's also a negative 2.5 rating. Once again, going with the look inside full court press old man rotation. You can see Niski in a different game. So two negative 2.5 ratings. To our knowledge, that is still the world record for the worst rating in BuzzerBeater. And if you guys see any world records that you think you have a player who broke that, feel free to comment down below and let me know. So now moving down to the team records for points in the game at 231 and points in a half at 134. It's going to be the same exact game here, but Milwaukee scrimmaged the Utopia team, so you can see Milwaukee Lethargy with the little line through the L. That's going to be his Utopia team, who is actually in Heaven or the top Utopia League. And then his main team with all of his old players right here. This is a game from 2015, so it was quite a while ago. But you can see that he scrimmaged himself to just see what's the biggest margin of victory he can get. And it was 231-13. So you can see that's definitely a huge margin. 231 points is an insane amount of points. And then in the half, also breaking the record for points in a half as well. So I'd be curious to see, what's the record for a setup essentially thrown game here, where you can, guess exactly what's going on, what that record would look like. But for, matches, this is the record for those two different criteria. And then going down here, least points in a game was 0. So this is going to be another one where he won 194-0 over his main team with his Utopia team. And it's one of the few games that I know of that are 0 points. I'm not sure if there's any other games. I imagine there's probably a couple at this point. But 194-0. You can see that 0 point quarters and 0 point halves happen all the time, but 0 points in an entire game is incredibly rare. And then moving down to assists in a game. So assists in a game, 77 assists in the game. Going to look very familiar because it is the biggest win ever. So you can see right here, he had 3 players in double-digit assists with 19, 14, and 12. And then his 3 leading scorers all had 7 assists each as well. So 77 assists, also a record. All right, and then least field goals made in a game with 0. You can see a lot of these examples from Milwaukee here. So we'll just go through them very quickly. But you can see 0 field goals made. The only points that they scored were on free throws, so 9 of 15 in this game. Moving on to the next one. 4 of 8 from the free throw line, 0 of 64 from the field. And then the third one. You'll see 0 of 36 from the free throw line, 0 of 68 from the field, and that's going to look familiar because that was the 194-0 game. So you'll notice a lot of these are in the same game, so those are pretty historic games to reflect back on. But they are, once again, world records. And then most free throws missed in a game at 77. Coming back to this game here, this is actually going to be Milwaukee against a different opponent rather than his Utopia team. And you can see that he shot 0 of 77 from the free throw line, only made 3 field goals, and then lost 113-6. That is another record that he holds. And then once again, that largest margin of victory, I won't click on it again, but it's going to be the same exact game that we've referenced a couple of times now. So those games and those records right there combined for 12 records, and then the 13th is just for most records broken. So he gets like an extra record for most records broken. But Milwaukee is a very interesting manager. Has been around for a long time. Let me actually see how long Milwaukee's been here. Say season 6. So season 6, he's been around for a long, long time. Definitely has a stylistic approach to BuzzerBeater that a lot of managers don't look into. And the other thing that I like to point out too with Chicago's team is that if you look at these salaries, you'll see 51K, 47K, 46K, 45K, 31K. Since he's essentially a homegrown manager where he doesn't, ever really buy players from the transfer list, the salaries are generally a lot lower based on his training, but he's able to stay in really high leagues based on how he's trained his players. So you'll see that he's in Division II USA. So if I click on the Division II USA, you can see that he's a second seed in Division II USA despite some lower salary. So if we just click on, let's go to Warrod right here, and then click on their roster. If you sort by salary, you'll notice that Warrod has a lot higher salary, so you can see 83, 81, 79K salaries there. But he is still a lower seed than Milwaukee Lethargy, just based on how Milwaukee's trained his players and how he's been able to do like a balanced approach across his rotation. So he has a lot of very balanced players, and he has obviously a pretty deep rotation here. 67 players always makes me laugh, but so this is just a team showcase that I think more managers should be aware of. If you haven't looked at his team before or didn't know about these world records, now you do. And give me a comment down below on your thoughts on any world records you think you might have, or your thoughts on Chicago's team. I'll go ahead and let you guys go until next time, and I'll probably try to do a couple more world records videos because I think they're very interesting. So until next time, guys, you have a good one. Bye.